The sulci divide the brain into four regions called lobes. These lobes include the frontal, the parietal, the occipital, and the temporal. The longitudinal fissure is a deep groove that separates the two hemispheres of the brain. The corpus callosum also crosses the medial longitudinal fissure and divides the cerebrum into the left and right hemispheres. It connects the left and right sides of the brain, allowing communication between both hemispheres. It also transfers motor, sensory, and cognitive information between the two hemispheres. The frontal lobes are located behind the forehead in the most anterior portion of the brain. This is sectioned off from the rest of the brain via the central sulcus. The central sulcus is a fold in the cerebral cortex of the brain. It separates the parietal lobe from the frontal lobe and the primary motor cortex from the primary somatosensory cortex. Anterior to the central sulcus is the primary motor cortex, which sends neural impulses to the skeletal muscles in order to initiate and control the development of muscle tension and the movement of our body parts. The parietal lobes are posterior to the frontal lobes. Within these lobes is the primary somatic sensory cortex, whose function is to interpret sensory impulses received from the skin, internal organs, muscles, and joints. Occipital lobes are posterior to the parietal lobes and are responsible for vision. The temporal lobes are the most inferior lobes. They are involved in speech, hearing, vision, memory, and emotion. The lateral sulcus divides both the frontal and the parietal lobe. It is located in both hemispheres of the brain, but is longer and less curved in the left hemisphere for most people, due to a phenomenon called Yakovlevian torque. Out of the three sulci, it is the earliest developing one.
The diencephalon, also referred to as the inner brain, is enclosed by the cerebral hemispheres deep inside the brain. It includes the thalamus, hypothalamus, and epithalamus. The thalamus serves as a relay station for communicating sensory and motor information between the body and the cerebral cortex. It also plays a part in the body's state of arousal, such as sleep, wakefulness, and high alert consciousness. Although the size of a pearl, the hypothalamus is a key part in the autonomic nervous system as it regulates functions such as metabolism, heart rate, blood pressure, thirst, hunger, energy level, and body temperature. The stimuli center for sex, pain, and pleasure also lie there. The epithalamus includes the pineal gland and regulates sleep cycle hormones that it secretes. The left and right hemispheres come together to make up the cerebrum. The cerebral cortex is the non-myelinated gray matter that surrounds the cerebrum. The inner and internal tissue is myelinated, white matter with small areas of gray matter called the basal nuclei. The cerebellum is found below the occipital lobe and looks similar to the cerebrum. It plays an important role as it coordinates body movement, including balance. In order to initiate a body movement, the cerebellum must first receive an input from the eyes, ears, and sensory receptors through the body. It also monitors both body segment position and motion. There are three parts that make up the brainstem. They are the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. The midbrain is the most superior part of the brainstem that serves as a relay station for sensory and motor impulse. It specifically relays information that pertains to vision, hearing, motor activity, sleep, wake cycles, alertness, and temperature regulation. The pons are located right below the midbrain and help regulate breathing. Inferior to that is the medulla oblongata, which regulates heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, and controls the reflex for coughing, sneezing, and vomiting.